Hey there, Lane here from Solitech. Hey, I just want to cover a few things on Report Designer. The goal is to help you to get your feet wet with the app. Now, there's some more advanced changes that we're not going to cover here, but I do want to cover again some basic things to hopefully get you started. So, first of all, I'm here under Account Administration, and I'm going to scroll down over here on the left and click on Process Reports, which is where I'm at. And I've created this one at the top, double O quote example, and I'm going to use that one as my example now. So I should probably show you what I'm using. So this is the example of what this one looks like. Um, I'm going to make a few changes to that. We're going to point out five things. So I'm going to change around the logo and the position of the address a little bit. I'm going to get rid of a few things. I'm going to get rid of the fax number and probably move the phone down just a little bit, the phone number down. I may decide to get rid of the lead source. Maybe I don't want the customers to see that. A common one that's requested is maybe getting rid of the MSRP. And I have to be careful because MSRP here is in a cell. And if I delete that, then I also delete the border. So I just want to be kind of careful how I do that. I also want to explain just kind of how these lines are going to work. And then that should just about wrap it up. Oh yeah, and I'll also just talk to you briefly about how to use text boxes. You can change taxes. I'll use some silly examples here just because sometimes those pop out a little bit. So here it is. One other thing also, sometimes you have a long email address and we don't like when it wraps. This one is not wrapping, but I'll show you how to handle that as well. So all right, let's jump into it. So here I am under account administration, process reports, and I'm going to use this double O quote example. And I'm going to go over here to the right and click. And I've copied this, by the way, from another report. That is important to say. So if this is a report provided to me by Solitech or by the site administrator, then I don't have the ability to change it. But I can copy any one of these and make changes to the copy, and that is what I'm doing. I'm going to make changes to this copy that I've made. So earlier I clicked over here on the right hand side. I found a report. I think it was quote one, and I hit the two pages here and chose to copy it. All right. So now I'm going to hit the pencil here. So I've taken care of some of that back end stuff here. I renamed it and I saved it. Now it's important to know that I can enable or disable the report here. Sometimes I'll make the report that I want and I'll come back in and disable, hit this button on the old report, even the one provided by Solitech. I can disable those, and those will no longer, if I disable one, those will no longer show up here in my preview list or my sign list if I just disable those. So if I want terms and conditions added to this, I want that I need to connect them here. And this is a training account, so I have several sets of terms and conditions. So I'll just keep this where it is. Once I rename the report, I want to go down here and save and click save. And so that way it saves here on this list. So I'm going to go back to the pencil over here on the right hand side. Now, to edit the report, I'm going to click on Report Designer here, this button. So when I click on that, it takes me to this other page here. So here's Report Designer. I want to go and have this keyed up on this report. There are a number of things I'll just walk you through real quickly. Number one, here, obviously this is the report. As we look at these, we can see the fields in here, and this is drawing from customer data. This is drawing from the quote data. Some of these things like how to code this, or I'm calling it code. Coding is probably not the right way to put it. But if I look at this cell expression down here, this is going to include description of the quotes and sales, the alt description, all those things. You can look at these a lot of times and start if you're maybe start to infer what this might be. So I've done this before where I've copied this, selected all this, and copied it, and then maybe made a change in it to see, well, what does it look like now that I've copied it, and see maybe I delete description. But just note that if I can pull this up a little bit. I was hoping this would be a little bit bigger, but just note that whenever there's kind of when there are these formulas in here, I'm going to click on cell expression. But whenever there are these formulas, you have to pay attention to the two brackets at the beginning and the two bracket. There's always that bracket at the end and at the beginning that you have to make sure you account for. So it's like a mathematical formula in that way. So, all right, I'm going to dive into this here. So a couple of tools over here. You can see I've mentioned I'll get to this in just a moment, but I mentioned the fax number. I'm going to change that. I'm going to change the MSRP. I'm going to make sure my email address doesn't wrap and just a few other things. So, all right. So over here on this little area, this is referred to as the hamburger. I'm going to click on this, and this opens up a number of tools over here that I can use. Text box is a really easy one to use. So if you click on the text box, or if you drag text box over here, I notice when I get over here, like sometimes it kind of moves slowly. It does not move at the speed of my pointer sometimes. So if I have a text box, that's what quote is. That's what this like installation address. This is just a text box, right? So whatever I put in there, there's no formulas. There are no formulas. It will just be exactly what I put in there. All right. We could get into some tables, and you may want to experiment with those tables. This is an example of a table here. This is a table down here where I have several different things here, and I can go to this little circle with the arrows, and I can click that, and I select the entire table, and then when I do that, I can move it around or do some things like that if I want to. But we could probably exhaust an hour talking about these different tools over here. I'll leave these to you to kind of experiment with. And feel free to hit us up as support and ask some questions about these if we can help out with that. All right. I should point out, you can see these tools up here, common tools, flush left or right, bold or underline. When you click on a text box, you get these, the copy, cut. I can change the font or change the size. These are just some common tools that would be at the top of a word processor. Probably not a lot of mystery there, really. Over here, you can make it go to the bottom or the top. I'll cover this over here last. So I'm going to close this up for just a minute. The first thing I want to change here, and I could probably compare this to this quote over here that I just made. Yeah, so if I look at this over here, here, that is. I'll bring that up when we want to see that next. Here we go, report designer. So maybe I want to make the logo a little bit bigger. Maybe I'm looking at this and thinking, well, I'd like my logo to be a little bit bigger. I've got some space down here. Maybe I also would like to move the biggest louver and my address down a little bit as well. Now, we see the box here. We see that the biggest louver, that is a text box over here. I can change this to a different color if I want to. I can make if I move the phone number down, I think I have a little bit more room for my logo. So let's go ahead and do that. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of the fax number because I don't own a fax machine. I don't know about you. So I'm going to click this. I'm going to hold down Control on my keyboard to click both of those boxes, and I'm just going to click the trash can up here. I can also hit the delete button on my keyboard. All right. So I'm going to make a little extra room for myself. I'm going to move the phone number. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to hold down Control on my keyboard and just move both of these down. The grid lines in the back will help me line these up as closely as possible. I didn't get this perfect, but I'm for the sake of time, I'm going to let this go. I'm going to make this logo a little bit bigger. And what you can do also, sometimes if you make the logo a little bit bigger than what you meant to, I mean, it's possible it goes over the first name of my company. I don't want that. So something I can do, I can right click on this and click on send to back. And that means the logo is going to be, enlarged, but it's going to be behind everything else. So you'll see what I mean. So when I change that, I'm going to take this text box and my address, and I'm going to move this over just a little bit. And I'm going to move this. Actually, I'm not going to move it down just a little bit. I don't want it to go over the website. I got to watch that. So I'm going to do that. Now, what you should do is at this point, if you're doing this, if you're following along with me at home, you should hit preview. And when you hit preview, you're going to be able to choose the quote that you see. Now, I am a super user here at Solotech. I see thousands and thousands of quotes from that list. So I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to open this up again. Again, you should hit preview, but I'm just going to kind of do it differently because I have access to a bunch of quotes. All right. So I'm going to hit preview, and this is double O quote example. I'm going to open that up, and you're going to be able to see the differences between the quote that I just made here, where we have to have the biggest louver. You can kind of tell, and I think even if we enlarge this a little bit, you can kind of tell, first of all, over here on the left-hand side, you can tell that the fax number is gone. You might be able to tell that by comparison that the logo is bigger. That's kind of cool. And the logo looks like there's a little bit of space there. So That's good. So, okay, so I've done those two things. I could probably make the logo bigger still if I would like to do that. All right. Everything else is going to be the same so far. Okay. I'm going to go back to the site. And so let's click on, I'm going to click on quote here. I really don't like that being a different color than the rest of it. So I'm going to click this color box down here, and I'm going to make sure that the quote here matches the color of everything else. Okay. Or maybe I want to change the box for all these. I can certainly do that as well. Maybe I want to make these orange, or something. Just using an example just to show you what I mean. Maybe, and I'm kind of looking at this, I don't know if I want the customer to know the lead source. Maybe that's, I mean, I've still got that in the software. Maybe I'm going to get rid of lead source next, and I'm going to get rid of MSRP next. So let's do that. I'm going to click on lead source, and I'm going to hit delete. I'm going to click on this and hit delete. I think it's a time for a review. So I'm going to go and click, you should hit preview again. I'm going to hit the save button. And I'm going to hit preview over here and choose double O quote example. And let's see what comes up here. So my lead source is gone now, and you can see my top letters are orange. So not a lot of mystery there. And you can see how it compares to the previous one I made, just kind of going back and forth between those two. All right. Let's go back to Web Designer now. So MSRP, let's get rid of this down here. So I'm going to first of all, get rid of the base cost. To do that, I'm going to right click here. Now I can delete it. First of all, let me show you what happens when I delete it. I can delete it, and that might be fine. Here, there's a border here. You can kind of see the gray border around this box. So I'm going to save that. And let's just make sure that that looks okay. I think it will, but I like to check myself before I get too many steps into the process. All right, so yeah, it looks like that amount is gone. That will no longer be there. Notice that on this quote there are several lines. Maybe I'll undo that. In this, I'm going to hit Control Z and put this back here. So, and I'm going to save that. Note that this represents a line item, and if there are two line items, basically the text box stays, and this part down here, these two lines, those there's a line, there's a set of these lines for each line item. So I'm going to click on base cost. Now, if you remember my original base cost over here on the left, there was MSRP here and here and here and here. But by deleting it on this one place, note that it did not, or where is it? Yeah, it stopped showing up in all the different lines. Okay. So now I'm going to get rid of MSRP. Now there's something I'm going to make a mistake on purpose because I want to show you that we need to respect this line back here. So if I delete that line, you can kind of see if you're paying attention that border is no longer there. So I'm going to click save here, and then let's look one more time. I'm going to make this, and this is probably not the way that I want it to look. So I'm going to go back in and I can type Control Z on my keyboard and make a little bit of a change. So yeah, so you can see that line is missing, and we probably not really the look that we want to have. So I'm going to hit Control Z on the keyboard and undo this. I can also, by the way, I should also tell you, within the app here, I can also go up here to the upper left-hand corner, and I can click undo there as well, and that puts MSRP back there. But how do I get rid of it? So I'm going to right-click on this, and I'm going to click Cell Expression. It's just a text box. There are no formulas or anything in here. I'm just going to backspace that out of there and then hit save. Now I know that when I click again, MSRP will not be there. And if you'd like an example here, I'll just show you real quick. So with the double O example, I know I'm showing you a lot of examples, but again, I want to repeat that I think it's wise. I found it's wise to open one of these reports before I get too many steps into something. I can still hit the undo button if I want to. Okay, so no more MSRP, no more lead source. My logo's bigger. Words are orange for random reasons, and then I've gotten rid of my fax number. Okay, so these are a couple things that I wanted to do and kind of wanted to point out. All right, kind of about to wrap up here for this one. So if we look at this here. One other thing down here, if I wanted to change taxes to something else, so if I want to change this to government fees or something like that, it says taxes. I could just put GOVT fees. Just to illustrate that you could change the text box however you would like to do that. So, all right. So if I save this and I open up another one, you'll see that this is what shows up. Hope this helps. Hope this helps you kind of get your feet wet. And I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, just hit us up at support@solitech.com. There's government fees right there. Thank you much.